Question of the day. What is one aspect of gaming that you find to be underserved in a full property? For instance, what do I mean by that? Well, let's take Star Wars, for example. If you were to think of a Star Wars game, what would be an aspect, an underused aspect of that universe that you'd like to see a game in? Maybe like a Watto's Junk Shop based in the Star Wars universe. That's a dumb example, but today we're taking a look at a game that, obviously, it's a wrestling game, right? And this is, to be fair, I did this for the review, but it's something I've literally wanted to do my entire life, so. But today we're talking about a game called Book It from Foamhammer Games. This is a wrestling game, but it's not a fighting card game at all. In fact, based on the title alone, you realize that you are a booker for wrestling. The term booker for wrestling is someone who, sorry to spoil the kayfabe, guys, someone who books the matches, writes the storyline. People like Kevin Nash, Dusty Rhodes have all been in this role before. Eric Bischoff, they've all been in this role of writing the story for wrestling. So the game Book It is not about seeing who can have the best fights, the best matches, the best bumps and all that sort of stuff and spots. This game is all about who can set up and have the best promotion. Think yourself back to the 1990s, the Monday Night Wars, right? WCW versus WWE, WWF at the time. The NWO took over, and it was just amazing. You know something, brother? All you kids out there, you got Hogan as Hollywood Hogan, right? And you go, oh, yeah, Macho Man. And then, of course, granted, this was Ultimate Warrior before the Monday Night Wars, because the Monday Night Wars were not good to the Ultimate Warrior. But anyway, the point is, this game is all about running the best wrestling promotion you can. So let's take a look right now how this game plays, if it's any good, all that sort of stuff right now. Guys will be on the airplane and it will be... Anyway, sorry. Let's look at how the game plays. Alright, so here's Book It laid out. Basically, let's start from the top. You are going to get a set of promotion cards. These would be things like Strong Style, which, by the way, I've been a wrestling fan all my life. I didn't hear about Strong Style until rather recently. I guess I wasn't into the kind of backstage, behind-the-scenes sort of wrestling stuff for quite as long as I am now. Strong Style, Sports Entertainment, so this is your typical, your Hollywood Hogans, everything like that. You've got your Hybrid Style. This is just kind of a catch-all. I've got a Sports Entertainment. Lucha Libre, and then Hardcore is the other one. There's purple is Hardcore. These all give you certain benefits, certain bonuses based on your promotion style. So you might be a brand. So if you're ECW, obviously you're going to be more hardcore style. If you're WWE in the current day, you're more sports entertainment, whereas you might have been even considered hardcore then. Think about it, WCW, right at the beginning of the Monday Night Wars, and especially through it, Lucha Libre, right? That was one of the things that really set WCW apart, right? So you pick one of these promotions that you're going to be using as your kind of main style throughout the game. They all give you different bonuses. Some of them give you bonuses based on the type of wrestlers you pick, or the hybrid one lets you draw more cards when you're doing the booking side. But the next thing you do is on the turn. First of all, everyone starts with $25. The next thing you do is everyone's going to pick a venue. So the venues are different cities, obviously, that are popular for wrestling in general. I love that Montreal's in there, London, New York, Mexico City, Philadelphia, Utica, New York. Minneapolis is the Mall of America itself, because I'm pretty sure they used to do matches in there. You got Orlando down here, the birth of Nitro and all that sort of stuff. I think my facts are right on that. Anyway, here you have all these different venue cards. You're going to have to pay the cost of the venue card up here in the top right, but they're going to give you a bonus for the round. So you don't keep this, whereas this is for the entire game. This is for just the round. You'll pick your venue, you'll pay the cost, and sit it down here in front of you. So if you're San Antonio, you may book 6 matches on your show. The next thing you have is everyone has a hand of 6 jobbers. These can be converted into journeymen if you want, which just makes them better, but they're called their local talent, so they don't count as any of the different styles out there. What you do now, though, in the signing phase, you're going to be looking to hire several different wrestlers to get into your roster so that you can put them in there for matches. Now, there are only a certain amount you're going to be able to get because you have to pay the cost of them, but here's the thing. what you're trying to do in the main phase of the game, in the booking phase, you're trying to make 5 matches to put on your show for that night. And here's the way it works. You need to have certain bonuses based on, first of all, do the colors match up? That gets you 1 bonus. That would be marketable. Do the numbers for the star value there add up? So these two are both 5. So when you put them in a match against each other, you would get the bonus for they're compatible as well. And the next one would be familiar. I'm sorry, next one would be marketable. This is you add extra. I messed those all up, sorry. Either way, one of them is marketable, one of them is compatible, one of them is familiar, but basically all that you need to know, one of them is based on the colors matching, and if the color matches your style of promotion as well. So if you have 2 hardcore guys in a hardcore promotion, you also get to do the bonus a little bit more. So when you have 2 that are the same color, you're going to draw 2 extra cards into your hand. I'll tell you about what that does in a minute. If you have the numbers that are the same for the star value, it's gonna end up with extra money for the ticket sales. And if you have the numbers for the boot, their work value, basically you're going to have you're going to get more show quality, which is going to eventually give you more points at the end of the game. So just know those are the 3 things you're looking for when you're booking talent. You're trying to find people who you know can add up. Now it still has a deck builder sense of a feel, even though it's a 1-turn deck builder. So everything you book, if you use it, it goes out of your hand. You don't actually get it back into your hand. So you then, once the signing phase is done, you can also get special announcements and dirt sheets. Dave Meltzer's over there writing dirt sheets and stuff like that, or whatever. That's what Eric Bischoff would say. Convention weekend, return engagement, talent scout, card subject to change, unreliable source. That's great. Driving buddy, super show style. You know, all these different things that are just really deep in the local for life, deep in the wrestling. Just, you know, kind of deep cut little inside jokes and things like that. Same thing over here with dirt sheets. You're being worked. So the idea is, I love this just for the inside terminology of you're being worked, kind of like Tony Schiavone at Bash at the Beach 2000, right, with Russo. Anyway, really big lucha show, scheduling conflicts, bad crowd, injured, 45-minute promo, man. Yeah, so that kind of stuff is great. All these different dirt sheet things are things that you can play against your opponent to hurt them. It's not really a take that game though. Like there is that aspect of it. If you want to play the dirt sheet route, you can, but again, it's not the worst thing in the world, but they are pretty brutal at times. So just know that the dirt sheets are an option, but you also have the special announcements, which they cost 3, dirt sheets cost 2. Special announcements are good for you, dirt sheets are bad for them. You can also upgrade one of your jobbers into a journeyman by paying $3. Now you'll notice that the stars for jobber are 0, 1, or the numbers for jobber are 0, 1, and nothing for the money on the bottom. They don't have a cost, but these, the journeymen, they're 2, 2, and they cost 3. So it's a better way to make your local talent worth more when you're going to the booking. So let's do the booking phase. So what's going to happen on the booking phase? You're going to take all the characters that you've gotten. So let's say you booked 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see you managed to pull 6 wrestlers, right? And we're a Lucha Libre. We're a hardcore promotion. So let's just say we got these. You'll take your entire roster that you just booked, that you just signed. You'll take your 6 jobber cards or journeyman cards if you have them. You'll shuffle them all together. You'll mix them all around. And then you're going to draw 6 cards. These 6 are what you have to start working with. Now, the reason I say start working with, and don't forget your bonus for San Antonio, this is going to let us book a 6 match. Normally, you can only book 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the cards we started with. These are horrible cards, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to match these up to make matches. We got 2 jobbers fighting each other here. You've got Jane Sienna. Yeah, exactly right. You've got her versus this jobber. Now, what would happen if you had 2 blue people here instead? You would get to draw 2 additional cards and potentially make matches out of them. Now that we don't have any extra cards being drawn, we have to just draw 2 cards, 1, 2, and that's your match. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have more cards, you have to do that again until you hit 5, 1, 2, and there we go. So we actually have a better matchup here, even though we don't get any of the bonuses in our entire event right now. So this is what we have going on in our show. We have these 2 jobber matches. We got Jane Sienna totally going in there, and this jobber's doing a job for Jane Sienna. You got Jack Love just beating the dog out of this jobber here, and then you got these 2 going against each other. No bonuses though. So again, if you had these 2 guys going against each other here in a hardcore promotion, instead of drawing 2 extra cards, you would have drawn 4 extra cards. So that's the bonus there. What you're going to do now is you're going to do ticket sales. So what you do is you count up all the dollar signs, or sorry, you count up all the star numbers. So you have 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 9, 12, and 17, plus your reputation rating times 2. So it's $2 for your reputation rating. First round you have 0. So once that goes up, you're going to be drawing more money each time based on ticket sales and things like that because your promotion is growing. So you get your money, and then you do the show quality phase. And the way this works is, because it takes 2 to tango in a match here, you count up the work value, so that would be the boot number, add those together and divide by 2 and round up. So this is 5, so this would be a 3. This is 4, that would be a 2. And then anyway, you continue doing that, so we'd have 1, 1, and then 3 and 4, 7, so 4. So 4, 5, 6, 9, 11 here. You go over to the chart. 8 to 11 is +1 to your reputation, so your show quality goes up by 1. It's a slow build on that, but you play 6 rounds. You clean up, you take everybody that you played, they go back to the wrestler deck, to the roster deck. This resets at the beginning of the venue and signing phase. You take your cards back. Anybody you did not play, you actually get to keep those in your roster. So you do that again, 6 turns. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. It's pretty straightforward, but at the end of it, money every 5 points counts as an extra reputation. But I wanted to show you this. I wanted to show you some of the actual wrestlers in here, just so we can kind of get a feel for what you're looking at here. Because some of them you're like, okay, that makes sense. That's just kind of random. But then some of them you're looking at and you go, yeah, that's definitely some Filipino Dave, for instance. You know, obviously Samoa Joe. I shouldn't have even had to tell you that. Katsuo Shuda, Valentine. See, some of these aren't 100% clear. Some of you guys are going to catch the references even better than I do. KB Carr, Bad Times Tonga, Bryan Golem, Caroline. I want to go with Charlotte Flair here, but I'm not sure. Sarah Starr, Red Gross, Mothman Martin. Some of these I'm just like, this is clearly AJ Styles, Andy Phenom here. Namor, Michael, that's pretty awesome. Let's see, Whisper, Dizzy Gomez, Genocide. Kaylee looks a lot like someone else. I love it though. I love that they do that though. Let's see, Roxy. There's another one. Celtic Demon. He looks a lot like somebody. Katana, Body Count. Let's see, where's the one I'm looking at right? I'm looking for. Let's see. Rain Dragon. But I'm just kind of giving you a feel for all this. Justin Lightning Tiger. Come on, that's pretty great. Filthy Kenny, Federalis. Let's see, Adam Barcelona, Jack Love. Right? I mean, that's a good one. Jane Sienna, I love it. That's definitely a female John Cena. And then Shin Nakahiro is without a doubt supposed to be Shinsuke Nakamura with the way he does it. You are welcome. War Karowski, and then Hexagon Dark. So a lot of just interesting wrestler names and titles and things to look at. So it's just a fun game based in the world of wrestling and booking wrestling. So let's come up and talk about what we think about this game right now. So that's it. That's Book It. That's what Book It is. Essentially, it is a card game in the sense of it's almost like a deck builder, except you have to get rid of your deck every single time. You're only keeping the cards that you didn't play. So it's got some deck building elements, but it also has some elements of, I don't know, just traditional card gaming, right? So first of all, you know that I am not a card game fan, but there's a big asterisk there. There's a big caveat, a big star, because most of the time the reason I'm not a fan of card games is because it's like, they're technically just an abstract game. They're like, hey, let's take this concept. You're going to war. Now, like, your warring faction of mages is fighting against my faction of wizards. Look at that. And we're drawing cards, and we're playing cards, and we're dealing down, and we're shuffling, and we're going through a discard pile. It doesn't feel like you're doing something, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like, I love the Lord of the Rings card game, but it didn't make sense as a game thematically. Why are you looking through the deck? Why are you, trying to play this card, or you get this weakness card? And I love Arkham Horror, the card game. For some reason, because of the spatial elements, it works. This game, though, it does what I love a card game to do. It uses a card game to be a property, a technique, a principle that you need cards for. Like, it needs to be something cards for, because imagine this is what you would be doing if you were a booker for the WWE or the WCW or AEW, right? You'd be laying out matches. You'd be looking at him and go, okay, he's hot right now. He's got a lot of heat. This one's got to, get that good babyface pop. Boom, put them in a match together. They've got a storyline building. I love it, right? Now, there's so many elements that I'm going to do what we call in hermeneutics exegesis, basically, which is where I read into what Foamhammer and Paul Laporte have done here, to where I think this is where they were going with theme, but there's so many places where the theme shines. So let's talk theme first before we talk mechanics. This game just works as a card game. It works so well. The idea of you being a promoter for wrestling and putting these things together. This isn't one of those card games in a sense where you could just take it and pull the theme out. Like, essentially, yes, it's still a little bit abstract, but the theme fits so well with what you're doing with the cards. That to me is just such a win for this game. So, the actual theme itself fits perfect. It works amazingly. You are a booker trying to hire the best wrestlers you can. It's not given how long, like it's not a week-to-week thing, so it makes sense for those cards to come out of your roster. For instance, when Bret Hart left the WWE and went to the WCW, and people jumped back and forth. Ric Flair jumped back and forth throughout all the 70s, 80s, 90s, right? So it made sense. It makes sense that these cards leave your hand. Now, I also like, though, if you don't spend those cards, you get to keep them. So, theme-wise, it knocks it out of the park. The idea of dirt sheets, right? The idea of there being dirt sheets that you can buy to be basically take that cards to the opponent. Special announcements are great. The venues are great. Picking venues in which matter for your special powers that round. Getting a bonus for your promotion of wrestling, whether you're strong style, a la Shinsuke Nakamura, or whether you're a lucha libre like Jushin Liger, one of those guys, or he was right. It was New Japan, or was it? I don't remember. Anyway, he was a good wrestler anyway, or Rey Mysterio Jr. for instance for lucha libre. Or if you're just more of like this traditional sports entertainment, a John Cena or Sting, people like that who just had that pop, that build. So it makes sense to have those nice promotions to choose from. So thematically, the game wins for me, right? Now let's talk mechanics, because this is really where a game lives or dies, is on the mechanics. You can get away with a game with great art. With mediocre art and great mechanics, but it's harder to get away with a game with good art and bad mechanics, right? So let's talk about mechanics for what this game does, how it plays. For instance, you have your 6 jobbers, again, theme. You can promote those up if you want to. I love the fact that you can make your jobbers better and that they're local talent, But I also like the fact that you're hiring out these wrestlers, and I like the theme, the strategy of this. You have to go, okay, I'm going to pay the money for this person. I have good odds that I'm going to get these people in my hand to build a match out of, but I know that I need, this person's got a 4, and this person's got a 4 on the stars. So let's try to get these into my hand. You're looking at 3 aspects as you're buying characters to where you go, well, I really want my own style, but this person's numbers match up better. Or I really don't like this person's numbers, but they are my style. And the bonus I get for having everybody out there is really good. You're drawing 10 cards at that point versus, essentially drawing 6. So I like the mechanics of just all the different phases there, of the phases of hiring the wrestlers. Make sure you get them into your roster, and then you lay them out. You draw the 6 cards, and you try to book the best matches you can with what you have. Try to get those numbers together, try to get those cards together so that you can get more cards out there, right? Then you count the value. And I like it. At first it looks confusing. Like, you're like, what? This number plus this, plus the bonus, plus... It is kind of confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, by a couple rounds in, you're just boom, boom, boom. Okay, this is worth this many dollars. Give me my money. And then you move on to the match quality phase, basically where you're seeing, hey, how good is this match, right? How good is this night? Is this Nitro or this Slamboree that we're doing? And so you're counting it up and you're dividing by 2 and you're getting the bonuses. Again, that part's a little confusing, but thankfully they give you the little tokens so you can just put them on top of each match and know how many points they're worth. I also like the fact that it's a sliding scale, that if you get into this range, you're getting reputation points. So I like the way the game plays. It's done really well. It's thoughtful. It's made to be... it takes good use of the theme. It's clearly done by somebody who loves this theme. It's not just slapdash of, hey, I got this idea for a game, how can we build a theme around it? Not at all. It's definitely someone who loves the premise, the behind the scenes kind of nitty gritty of wrestling, the kayfabe and the spots and all the sort of stuff that you would hear people talk about finally once they started breaking kayfabe a little bit. But I love it. I love it so much. I love Book It. It's a fantastic game. The only thing I got to ding it for is some of the art is great, and some of it's okay, right? Like, you look through the cards and you see the people who are clearly meant to be people from the real world. I think that's cute. That's a funny thing to do. But some of the pieces are just like, the other ones really look really great. So that's the only thing I would ding it on there. Easy to play. It's fast to play. It's easy to learn. And if you love wrestling, you're going to love this game. So that is my review for Book It. Again, I just did the warrior pink. This is something I've literally always wanted to do my entire life, but I figured it'd be thematic, right? And this game's all about themes. So that is Book It from Foamhammer Games. Make sure to go check this game out if you're a wrestling fan. And until next time, I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Latest Retro. That is a phrase that means nothing. I just came up with it so I could put it out there. So if you're wondering what The Latest Retro means, it's basically a nonsense phrase about how I can review old and new games. But this is a game you should go check out. So follow me, Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. And until next time, I'll see you. I love it. Just, yeah, that's all I got. Until next time, I'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.